Hey, this is Rob, and you are listening to the Hidden Destination podcast. Today is September 7th, and I am recording this a day later. Didn't record the episode last night for my September 6th ride, but I'm going to recap that today, and I'll get into why I did not do a night recording last night. So yesterday I rode from Lake of the Falls Campground to Buckatabon Lake. There's a pretty nice campground and resort on the lake, the Buckatabon Resort. I rode 56 miles with 2,000 feet of climbing. And I stopped in Boulder Junction about halfway to do a job interview. Yesterday was definitely interesting. I woke up at the Lake of the Falls campground, and it was had rained overnight, and it was cold. It was a very cold, wet, damp morning, and I could not heat up the entire ride. The entire 30 miles to Boulder Junction was pretty chilly. And in fact, I didn't really heat up all day. It was quite chilly. The winds were coming out of the north, and that'll hopefully make for some good tailwinds today. But it's a cold wind. And towards the end of the day, when the sun sort of sinks behind the trees, because you're in this giant pine tree tunnel with a lot of these rural back roads that I'm on. It blocks out the sun, which makes it somewhat chilly. But yeah, I started out the morning. I was going to do a no coffee, black tea morning, just black tea only. That was, I don't know, I just for some reason haven't had the taste for coffee. That lasted until my first cup of coffee, which I had at Boulder Junction. That was a terrible, terrible idea to attempt this on the day where I had not a ton of sleep and a technical interview to do. So I rode through, my interview was at 2. I rode through Manitowish Waters and Boulder Junction, which were both really, really cool towns. And I popped into a coffee shop at Boulder Junction for my job interview, and shout out to the barista there for being super accommodating for me, taking my phone interview and letting me hang out there past 3 p.m. to eat some food and sort of get packed up. They closed at 3, and she let me hang out there for a bit and keep my bike there while I went grocery shopping. I did a bit of a resupply, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, and then after Boulder Junction, I set out to make it to camp, and the roads just were so incredibly scenic after that. It was just, I mean, these are some of the coolest roads I've ever ridden, and it's just, yeah, it's unbelievable, like just pine tunnels with like thick, majestic forest. And yeah, I'm just blown away by the beauty up here. It's incredible. So yeah, it's called the road that I was on for a bit of the way. It's called the Wisconsin Rustic Road. So they call them rustic roads up here, and they're just that, just beautiful pine, lined with forest, and cabins nestled off the roadways, and it's just, yeah, thousands and thousands of lakes. I guess Minnesota's referred to as like the land of the thousand lakes, but when I was talking to the barista at Boulder Junction Coffee Co. yesterday, they were kind of shitting on Minnesota for being renowned for all their lakes, because they're like, no, we have way more lakes than them, and it's definitely true. There are lakes everywhere. This whole area is just speckled with small lakes, and it's really cool. Just drinking some more coffee. I'm not doing just black tea today. Today is a coffee day. So yeah, rode the Wisconsin Rustic Road up to the campground here, and passed through a town of Star Lake. So for those that know, there's a Star Lake near Wanakina in the Adirondacks. So if just more components making this area feel like the Adirondacks. And then right outside of Star Lake, I passed an apple tree with some pretty delicious looking apples. So I loaded up on some apples, which made for a good snack when I got to camp. And then when I had a fire at night, I put those in tin foil with cinnamon and salt, and roasted those up, and it was delicious. But yeah, like I had mentioned, it was so cold yesterday, and I hate being cold. I've always known that. I do much better in the heat. I will take 95 degrees in humidity in the Appalachian Plateau through Ohio over what I felt yesterday, because it was just bone-shakingly cold. As soon as the sun went down, the sky cleared, and it got so cold, and that's when I was gonna prepare dinner, and I ended up, there was, next to my campsite here, there's a little like laundry hut, where folks at the campground can do laundry, and it was a bit warmer in there, so I ended up doing all my cooking on one of the washers and dryers in the camping hut, or in the laundry hut, which it worked. I'm glad nobody walked in, because kind of made a mess. I was using like my jet oil in there, and definitely set up shop. So I cooked and ate dinner in there, and then immediately made some hot oatmeal and made a fire, and ate some oatmeal, drank some tea around the fire, which was quite nice. And like I said, the sky was super clear. You could see the Milky Way. The stars were absolutely gorgeous. But I was a little concerned about my sleeping pad, which isn't super insulated, and I only had a quilt, so there were some folks having a campfire in a pretty large trailer next across the street from me, and so they were still out there while I was getting ready for bed. And I went over, I was like, hey, do y'all have like a blanket or a quilt that I could borrow? I was like, it is so cold and I don't know if I'm going to be warm enough tonight. And they were super, super kind. And the woman went in and grabbed me a giant fluffy quilt. And that definitely saved me, because it got down to, like, I would say probably in the upper 30s, low 40s, and had I not had that quilt, that would have been rough. I had my pants, my wool socks, I had my t-shirt, my arm warmers for cycling, my smart wool base layer, and my raincoat, and my hat, my winter hat, and my hood up underneath my quilt and the blanket, and I was still cold. So yeah, so I think tonight is supposed to be similarly cold, and there are really no good campgrounds in the distance that I wanted to cover, but there was a cheap motel in one of the towns about 50 miles away, so I was like, yep, this is going to be the last cold night. I'm not going to go through that again, and I will wait for warmer weather to camp. So yeah, well, getting a little late in the day here. I need to set out. It's finally warmed up a bit, and it's going to be a bit shorter day today, which is good because I'm getting later starts, as seems to be, nothing's really changed there, and I have a bunch of laundry and Google reviews to write and emails to send. In the past couple nights I haven't had service, so definitely looking forward to a little connectivity. So yeah, all good things. Alrighty. Well, from the Buckatabon Campground, until next time, ta-ta.